I saw my mother die 2,601 days ago, and I have thought about it every day since. Not to keep a record going, or to prove a point. It just happens that way. It's inevitable. When a woman like that enters your life, even for a minute, the rest of the world is just a waiting place until she comes back to you. She was the woman who battled 3 separate diagnoses of breast cancer, who worked 3 jobs to help her 3 children. She was an avid watcher of soap operas, who would call me over to her lap and catch me up on the episodes I missed since I only watched Cliffhanger Fridays. She was a strong woman, adamant and persistent, who on many occasions would find any excuse to debate my father, my favorite of which was her bold contention that the correct song lyric was not "Cat Scratch Fever," but was in fact "Cat Scratched the Beaver." She was a woman deeply invested in her children, who believed wholeheartedly in their talents. She bore the burdens of the world with a beautiful smile, and she was Xena the warrior, and the omnipresent Band-Aid applicator extraordinaire. She was the hulking protector. It's summer, and my mom is inches away from my face, and there's a shockingly cold plop on my nose, and I wince. But then I man up because big boys don't wince when their mom puts sunscreen on their nose. She sculpts my face, and I relish the bubblegum scent that she bought at my request. My skinny feet are tap dancing, either from the heat of the patio concrete or my poorly restrained excitement. I know that this is the last step before we load up the car, because it's a sacred formula. On field trip days, I watch her prepare the lunches, helping where I can. My big projects are typically spoon-licking endeavors, which my mom tells me I have a particular talent for. All the daycare kids arrive, and my mother manages to collect us into the van. You don't think of the word patience when you think of a carload of children, but my mom had developed a superhuman tolerance over the years. We finally reached the crest of a hill and caught a small glimpse of the destination. Elitch Gardens. But the cool kids call it Six Flags, so naturally I call it Six Flags. I don't remember much of the other rides, but I'll never forget the teacups. My buckle was hard to get out of on the previous ride, so I'm the last one off, which means that I don't get to pick my partner in the teacup. This leaves me face to face with my sister on one side and me on the other, and a large mysterious plate in the middle. I'm not a fan of being dizzy, so I let my sister Amy know that I don't want to spin a lot, and she looks at me and laughs. Eddie, you can't control the ride. If you don't want to get dizzy, you should get off. My sister is 2 years older than me, so I don't question her. I unlatch the little door on the teacup, and I step out onto the platform. The second my foot touches the platform, the ride starts. I'm not at my academic peak at this point in my life, but I still know that this is not good. I'm bobbing and weaving between the teacups that are currently moderately fast, but are rapidly gaining speed. Of course, my natural instinct is to run over to my mother, who is a couple teacups and a black spiraling fence away. With my 3rd grade athletic ability, I managed to jump 3/4 of the fence, which is awfully similar to jumping 0/4 of the fence. I fall into a crevice between the platform and the fence, where my back is on the fence and I am facing the platform. A gear catches my shirt and my back is being dragged across the fence. Meanwhile, the ride operator couldn't be more oblivious. Though I do think she was beginning to suspect something by the heart-wrenching shrieks issuing from my mother. But this woman still hasn't pieced it together. I've gone 1 full revolution, and I am offered front row seats to the most humbling image I have ever seen. My mom is raising hell. Moving through the crowd like they're not even there. She reaches the control panel and lunges with her supernatural strength at the operator. So my mom is at some foreign control panel, looking directly at me and decisively slams down a fist on a large red button. And I am saved. This is the kind of person my mother is. Once someone plows into a ride operator to save your life, you're indebted to them. But in January of 2006, she was diagnosed with breast cancer for the third time in her life. It wore on her and wore on her until the doctor informed us that the cancer had metastasized into her spinal fluid. And at that point, all you can do is wait for it to take you. So I watched as this woman, who I loved more than I was capable of loving anything or anyone else, slowly and inevitably die. She couldn't speak in her last week, but she managed to tell us all one last thing. She passed away on April 1st, 2006, April Fool's Day, as if to say, in her kind-hearted, light-spirited way, fooled you. Although you might not comprehend it now, this is not the end. There are not enough lifetimes that I could repay my debts to her. I'm doing what I can. But how do you repay someone who you owe everything to? She was the greatest person I have ever known. Carol Marie Jordan.